Hello, Woodstock and Cherokee County. This is another in our series of informational talks with city and county leaders about the pandemic and what to expect. Today, I'm joined by Dr. Brian Hightower, Superintendent of Schools, and I'm sure everybody's interested, especially those with seniors, on what's going to happen with the school system. So Brian and I have known each other for about 20 years. He's doing a great job with the school system, and I think you'll enjoy what he has to say. Brian, first question. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say thanks, Donnie. I appreciate you having me today. I do miss coming down to Woodstock to eat and get your summer series started for your concerts. Obviously, this has put everything on hold, and I do appreciate the opportunity to talk to your citizens, and you put me on the spot right out of the chute with that graduation question.
Well, we'll get to that in a minute. Give you a chance to think about it a little bit more. So how well has the transition gone to online learning and serving students while schools are closed?
Certainly. So I think the transition has gone as well as it possibly could. You know, as an organization, when you have something occur like this where you need to have a major pivot, you want to be nimble, you want to be responsive. In our leadership circles, we talk a lot about being proactive versus reactive. And in a lot of situations, you definitely need to be proactive and get ahead of things. In this kind of a situation where we're thrust into a pandemic outbreak and schools are closed, businesses are closed, cities are shut down, stay in place and shelter in place orders are put in. You have to be reactive, but the key there is that you be responsive, that you be as quick as possible. And so as it relates to our online learning, obviously that really is turning education on its ear. We had been working with our teachers over the last couple of 3 years to work them into a blended learning option where they're in their classroom instruction, they're using a combination of technology, internet sources, face-to-face, guided reading, small group, so that in the context of a classroom, you have a lot of different things that might occur. So ultimately, we were looking at the ability to do this kind of an online learning anyway in our classrooms. We had looked at expanding it for the possibility of doing it in place of inclement weather absences so that we could continue instruction. But what a platform it has become. I was saying to some of the team today, it's like saying, okay, I want to learn Spanish. And so do you take a Spanish course, or do you go somewhere where Spanish is the primary or possibly the only language being spoken? What we were doing with technology and online learning was really almost trying to dabble our toe in that and to get teachers comfortable with it. But we're in full-blown immersion at this point. So the teachers have carried serious weight here. When you talk about the size of our district, Donnie, we've got 3,000 teachers. All of them are in different places with their comfort with technologies, with their abilities. So just like with anything, a teacher that's utilized this in their classroom, the kids who have utilized it in their classroom, they obviously feel more comfortable with it. But by and large, we've had an excellent turn to this with online learning and serving the kids. We feel like there's been some veracity and integrity to the lessons that have been offered. So we're extremely proud. And again, a huge thank you goes out to the teachers. They're carrying most of the weight as it relates to the online learning, prepping those lessons. In a survey that we did just last week during spring break, the teachers were able to talk to us through that survey about the hours they're spending. I can tell you they're working 5 days a week, and most of them commented that they're working over 6 hours a day. So they're giving it their absolute best effort, and we're really, really proud of what's going on in their virtual classrooms right now.
Well, that's great. I can attest to the work schedule because my wife, as some people know, works for the school system, and she's at her computer pretty much all day at different virtual meetings, talking to parents and things like that. So I certainly can see it.
Well, ultimately, you know, for the taxpayers, I think they would be real proud of the school board and their guidance for allowing staff to recommend and adopt a learning management platform. You've got to have a platform to be able to deliver what we've been able to deliver. Even larger districts maybe to our immediate south have struggled through with some of their delivery. And the last word we had out of one of those districts is that the kids had to individually log into a teacher blog site to get daily assignments. So that means that they're leaving one site and going to another. The learning management system allows us to have one large platform for students, parents, and employees to access. And you go there and you get content, you get grades, you get web links, you get website information, syllabi information. It's a one-stop shop for the entire district, and it's performed admirably. It's done really well. We've had no crashes. We've had none of those kinds of problems that even one of the neighboring districts to our east had a couple of crashes the first 2 days of delivery online. So we've been very, very pleased with the performance of our instrument.
Well, I was certainly impressed by how fast y'all got that up and running, because my grandchildren are in northern Louisiana, and it took them several weeks for that school system to get something up and running. So congratulations on what your team's been able to accomplish.
Thank you.
I know what will happen next as far as the last day of school, exams, grades, and graduation. Graduation especially is the biggest question I get. Say, you know, like I'm supposed to know what's going to happen, but people do ask me. So what are your plans?
Sure. So as we got started, we knew we had about 3 weeks of instruction before we got to spring break. Part of the communication that we had with parents is that very clearly we wanted them to have a spring break, to be immersed into that new online learning environment was pretty intense for those 3 weeks. We knew everybody would be need some downtime. Ultimately, we did want to transition out of spring break and begin looking at the close of the school year. And so over the spring break, I mentioned earlier a survey, but we wanted to hear from the students, the parents, and our teachers as it related to their thoughts on graduation, grading situations, the end of the school year. I will tell you that we were already starting to look at maybe ending the school year early. The state waived all end of the year testing, which actually carved out some time that we would need in instructional time for the testing period. So out of the surveying, and I will tell you that we heard from about 21,000 parents, and then we heard from another 8,000 students and teachers. So we had a lot of participation in the portal, got lots of comments. We had lots of, yes, no's, A, B, C, D kinds of responses, but then we also had open-ended responses. We had enough open-ended responses that it took about 1,000 pages in a Word document to compile all of those for our principals to see. So it's just great feedback. When you talk about having 29,000 people respond to your survey over a 4-day period, we felt like we would have good information. So out of that, we've developed some recommendations that we're going to have for our board tomorrow night. And we will be recommending an early end to the school year, Friday, May 8th for our students, and then Friday, May 22nd for our teachers. And what we would propose in that 2-week window is for teachers to work with individual students that might need remediation and a little bit more coverage of content if needed. We know that we're going to have some high school AP testing going on online. They do that testing through College Board directly. And so we know that there was going to be study sessions that would be held and prep sessions, remediation going on. But ultimately, the recommendation would specifically be around the close of school early for students and a little bit early for our teachers as well. Again, not needing the testing kind of clears that up. The parents also and the students spoke very loud and clear about their desire for graduation. We were moving forward with some plans for a virtual graduation for our students. We did not think as we closed out May that we would have any freedom there as it relates to social distancing and shelter in place orders. But they asked us to please hold off in the survey to wait until July 1 to make that decision. So we've had lots of conversations here. We're going to do that. We think that it's important for our parents and our students to have a say in these matters. So we're going to hold off making any decision, wait and see if things ease in and around the social distancing orders. So because our graduations, because of the size of the classes, Donnie, you would know, we graduate about 600 kids in each of the classes. We have 6 high schools. We fill up Woodstock First Baptist Church. We normally have about 3,000 to 3,500 people attend those ceremonies. Well, you've got to have certain flexibilities there that we would need to have a face-to-face in-person commencement. So we'll hold off and wait on those. Grades, we've talked our parents and our teachers through being very gracious on the grades. We know that students are having to overcome a lot of difficulties as it relates to the COVID-19 outbreak. We know that there are students that have to work through connectivity issues, device issues. We've tried to fill that gap as much as we possibly could, but we want to be very gracious there. So we have worked through with principals and teachers on their grading systems. We will give numerical grades for everything. I want to say from 3rd grade on up. We'll do letter grading and number grading. High schools, the state has been very specific. They want us to maintain numerical grades at the high school level for purposes of GPAs and high school entrance. So that really was a given. It was really about what to do with the remainder of the levels. But at the same time, we've talked through with all of our leaders the importance of looking at a student and not keeping them from matriculating up either from elementary to middle, middle to high, or high school graduation based on COVID-19. We want to make sure that our students get out of this without harm and that they have the next best chance to step into that next level for them. Obviously, it's of utmost importance for our graduates. We want them to be ready to enter military, work, career, technical college, research college, 4-year institutions as quickly and as easily as possible.
Sounds like you've got it under control. I'm glad to hear.
It's a mouthful, and I know I'm doing most of the talking today versus us having more of a conversation, but I will tell you that we've given the situation a lot of time and cautious review. We still have a lot of unknowns out there as it pertains to the end of the year. We know that our seniors especially are hit hard. The end of the year celebrations that we would normally have both for students and for families and for staff have been basically, eliminated. So that's pretty tough. And so we want to try to preserve graduation as much as we can. And so the team has been very responsive. The leadership team here in Cherokee County, I can tell you, is strong. I have a distributive leadership type attitude. I've got a lot of smart people around me. Donnie, I'm just trying to keep up with them, quite honestly. I want to have one of those great ideas at least every 25 or so.
Right.
We've got lots of smart people that are collaborating on this issue to resolve it to the best of our abilities.
Well, good. Next, I've seen a lot on social media about your to-go lunch program. Tell us a little bit about that and also how the community can lend a hand.
I will say it's been an observation of mine, Donnie, that when you have hardship and you have difficulties, a lot of times you see communities either falter or come together. And I am so proud of our community. I'm so proud to live in Cherokee County. We've got a great community. And the food program for us, making sure that our students were well fed, really was a rallying cry for the community. We developed a feeding program very quickly. got approval for that. I can tell you that it's 1 day a week, but at that one time, we distribute to each child that is there 9 meals. It would be 4 breakfasts and 5 lunches that would get them through the remainder of the week. We have 12 school locations where we're distributing food at the curb. We also have a cruising cafe, a mobile bus that takes food to 5 locations and delivers. And additionally, we have some school vans that take food to some of our foster homes and those locations. And so on a weekly basis, we've been touching almost 4,000 students each Monday. And when you give them 9 meals, and now we've done this 5 weeks, we're in the totals of almost 200,000 meals distributed through our community. So we've been, again, it's been a community effort. We've had a lot of community donations. We appreciate that. We really are better when we do life together. And we so appreciate our community and our partners. Through our partnership with MUST, we have 3 MUST pantries in schools. We have one at Oak Grove, Hasty Elementary, and Cherokee High School. I can tell you every week those pantries are emptied, and MUST has said, listen, we'll open them if we have the food. So we've had community members and partners and parents and donors give toward us. They've given toward MUST, and all together we've worked this one together. I can tell you Woodstock First Baptist Church has also been involved, been an integral partner for us as well to care for our families, and we so appreciate those partnerships. We have been collecting. I can tell you that we've done a few little fundraisers, and to date have collected over $90,000 to go toward this feeding program. We're very proud of that. That's not something that we've done. It's been the community coming forward to say, how can we help? How can we assist? We've also seen here as we move toward the end of the year, parents have monies that are left over in their meal programs for their children at schools. They have monies left over in their after school care programs at schools. And they've said, can we possibly just donate those leftover monies into your meal program? And we've so appreciated those kind of efforts. Curtly Wheeler gave a concert the other night, a living room concert, where we tried to utilize that to raise some money. So all those together, it's really been a community effort, and we've been so proud of the efforts of our community to support our children. We don't want kids hungry. And, had this occurred in the winter, I guarantee you we would have also seen a coat program. Our community has come together to make sure that our kids are clothed and well fed, and we so appreciate that. And for us to be able to be a focal point, a release point, a touch point for that kind of an effort has really been a point of pride for us. And again, big kudos to our community in this regard.
If somebody wants to donate to the program, is there a link on your website?
Yes, we've got a COVID-19 link on our front page. And if they go to that page, we've got resources for families. We've got lessons for teachers. We've got a lot of different things listed there. But one of the things that is listed is the link that would take them into our school feeding program where they can make a donation. They can do that by the day, by the week, by the month, at one time. I can tell you, if you have citizens wondering what it takes to provide those 9 meals for the week for one child, it's $26.25. So a lot of folks have made their donation in and around that number as a multiplier. So again, we would appreciate any additional gifts in this regard.
Great, great. Now, I'm sure the school district, like the city, has a lot of day-to-day operations still happening and people working very hard behind the scenes. Can you tell me more about that?
Sure. I can tell you again that our teachers are working very hard to prepare lessons for their students. That takes right there 3,000 people doing what they're paid to do to share their expertise to make sure that kids are learning, and we so appreciate that. And then behind that, we have an Office of School Operations that oversees the daily operations of school. I can tell you that the chief of that division, as well as many of our others, we're all working 10, 12, and 14-hour days right now to make sure things go well. The Office of curriculum instruction I'm telling you, their leadership is working every day to make sure that our teachers are supported. Technology, we've distributed a lot of technology between the distribution and the upkeep and the connectivity and the repair. We've got repair crews working every day on teacher and student machines if they go down. Support services, again, keeping our schools clean, working on our construction projects. I can tell you construction continues to go. If you're like us, Mayor, you're trying to pull some projects forward while maybe not as many people are on the road, you're doing road projects. Same way for us, there's not people in the schools, so we're already doing summer cleaning. We're getting buses maintained and prepped for next fall. We've moved renovations forward, construction forward. Just yesterday, I shot a note to our school board members' head and said, hey, if you hear about helicopters flying around the school, we just dropped 2 air units onto the top of Etowah for the repair to begin there. So those kinds of things, we've moved our calendars forward. And I can tell you our crews are hard at work to make sure that operations are going well.
Great. You always seem to have positive stories about students and staff. Can you share any of those?
Sure, I'd be proud to. You know, all across the internet and a lot of social media outlets, there's been a lot of conversation about the fact that not all heroes wear capes. And first, I'm so proud when people list their heroes during COVID-19 outbreak, that they talk through first responders and hospital workers, grocery store clerks and stock people. Within that list, they list nurses, and we have nurses that are out there working on behalf of kids, and teachers are also listed. So I think that's an extremely positive story for our organization to know that we've got a group there that's widely recognized by all of America as being a hero during this. So I think, you know, to start with, I think that's great. We have individual stories as well. One that comes to mind, we have an employee that teaches for us, also married to a husband that's a firefighter in our county. They foster families, and when they go in to foster a child, they actually look at a family unit. And in this particular situation, earlier in the year, we know this family was fostering 6 siblings, but right now this family has 11 siblings all together in their home. And quite honestly, she reached out and just said, I'm drowning. And I was so proud that our school board caught wind of this. We discussed it as a team and a board. We sent some technology workers to their home to install some technology, get them some of our technology through some funding that would be appropriate, got them set up to be able to do school there. We're providing meals and those kinds of things and the kinds of support that a situation like this. Now, I would like to say that our folks are the heroes, but to me, this family is a real hero for us in Cherokee County. They're providing teaching during the day in a regular job for us. The husband is providing fire protection for our citizens. And here they are, you know, fostering 11 children, trying to keep them together as a family unit. So you hear those kinds of things going out of hardship. You know, we get to see people as contributors in our community, and to me, a hero. So just those kinds of things, I'm so elated by. We see kids out there doing art projects for their neighborhood, doing chalk projects on the sidewalk. We saw that going forward. That was pushed out actually by a teacher as an art project, but it had the kid not just impacting what they were doing and having an art project completed inside the home, but ultimately to impact their neighborhood. So we see those kinds of things. We see lots of kindness movements and character ed things going on, plus just the fact that our kids are responding back to us through the portals, and I'm getting lots of letters about how well the teachers are doing and how appreciated our teachers are doing. You know, as far as a leader is concerned, none of us are perfect. We want to be better educators. We want to be better community members. We want to be better employees. We want to be better parents. We're seeing kids have the opportunity to be leaders right where they are. We're seeing employees having the opportunity to be leaders where they are. And we're hearing back from the community as to how proud they are of teachers going the extra mile for kids. So again, positivity is a feature of the day. It's a theme of the day. You know, there's a lot of negative around us. This is not an ideal situation to be going through. Something that I guarantee you know, nobody alive has seen the kind of impact that we're seeing through COVID-19 outbreak. But ultimately, you know, we have a lot of folks in and around us in our community and in our organization that have chosen to be positive and upbeat, look for ways to continue to grow themselves as a leader. And we so appreciate that. Lots and lots of those kinds of stories, Donnie.
Well, that's great. It sounds like everybody's pulling together. And I can tell you, as you know, Jane and I have 3 children, and of course they're all adults, but I have nightmares about if they were still young in school, what I would be doing during the day. So my hat goes off to all the parents out there that are doing a good job.
We agree, and you know, the distress emails that you get more often than not are from parents who are trying to work, trying to do some things maybe remote or going to work, trying to lead education with their kids, trying to make sure meals are prepared and their children are entertained. That is a tough gig right now. I'm in that same boat as you. I'm now a parent of grown children. And I really admire our young parents that sometimes have a house full of children and are trying to work and get it done for their kids to make sure that their kids are plugged in. We did hear from our parents that their kids are actively engaged, and we appreciate that. Again, we know that the parent supporting learning at home is an important piece of that. So again, like you, hats off to our parents.
Yeah, I'm lucky with my grandchildren. Their mother is a middle school teacher, so they have a very structured environment, even though they're still very young. Is there anything you want to add, Brian, on your own?
You know, just a couple of things I think we've learned through all of this is that we really are better when we work together. And this really has been a community effort. And I do appreciate our community. A lot of our posts have been either #OneCommunity or #BetterTogether. I love that theme. I think it's indicative of Cherokee County, and I know you have a lot of listeners out of Woodstock directly. What a great community we have. What a great city you have. I know you're proud as mayor. I'm proud as CEO and superintendent of the school district, and so appreciative that we can do this thing together and get beyond it, get to the other side, look at the lessons we've learned, maybe be better people as a result.
Well, good. I want to thank you, Brian, for joining us today. I'm sure you'll get tagged on Facebook, so you'll have access to this video. And this has been Dr. Brian Hightower, Superintendent of Schools. And as always, Woodstock and Cherokee County, please stay safe.